So what's the most important reason to challenge in court a corruptly granted presidential pardon? To prevent future presidents from doing it. Let's talk about that. Because preventing the next Donald Trump, like justice, matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Happy holidays. So I had the good fortune today to be on MSNBC twice with a couple of my favorite hosts, Ali Velshi and Yasmin Vesuvian, and I got to talk about pardons. And I often encounter people who maintain that the presidential pardon power is unconstrained. It can never be challenged in court, regardless how corrupt or criminal the pardon might be. And I call these folks the presidential pardon purists. I maintain that nobody can make that claim, that a criminal or a corruptly delivered presidential pardon can never be challenged in court. Why do I say that? Because the Supreme Court has never handed down an opinion saying a criminal or corruptly delivered presidential pardon can never be challenged in court. In other words, there's no precedent. It's what we call an open question of law. And you know how you get an answer to an open question of law? You bring a court challenge and you let the court decide. If the presidential pardon power is so broad, so unconstrained, so untouchable, that a president can actually use it to commit a crime, to deliver a criminal pardon or a corrupt pardon. Let me quote somebody that I don't often quote. Former Attorney General Bill Barr, a man who's not exactly tethered to the law. During, I believe it was his confirmation hearing, Senator Leahy asked him a very pointed question. Can a president grant someone a pardon in exchange for that person's silence, that person's promise not to incriminate the president? And Bill Barr said that would be a crime. So somebody please explain to me why we wouldn't go into court and challenge corruptly delivered pardons from President Trump to Roger Stone, to Paul Manafort, to Mike Flynn. What's the worst thing that could happen? The prosecutors lose. The Department of Justice loses. Well, you know what? There is no shame in going into court and fighting a battle on behalf of the American people, on behalf of the rule of law, and against a corrupt president, and lose. In my 30 years as a prosecutor, I took difficult cases into court, not infrequently, fighting for the victims, for the community, for the rule of law, for the American people. Sometimes I lost, but I never regretted fighting the fight. Now, I maintain if we went into court and we challenged a criminal pardon, a corruptly delivered pardon that Trump used to buy the silence of Roger Stone, of Paul Manafort, of Mike Flynn, we would win. Why do I say that? Because the judiciary will not say that a clause in the Constitution is so broad, a power granted to a president is so broad that he gets to commit all the crimes he wants, and he can pardon himself, he can pardon his criminal associates and get away scot-free. Because if the judiciary said that, folks, the president could actually steal all the money in the U.S. Treasury, pardon himself, or step down and have Mike Pence pardon him and get away with the loot scot-free. And the judges would say that's fine. You can't challenge that. The Constitution gives the president the right and the power and the authority to do that. Come on now. The courts will not endorse that. That's why we have to bring court challenges of these corrupt pardons. But here's the other thing. If the court does endorse corrupt pardons, if the court says, oh, well, the president gets to commit crimes, have his co-conspirators, his partners in crime, commit crimes, and then he can pardon them. Oh, there's nothing we can do about it. Well, then we have precedent. Then we no longer have an open question of law. Then we know for sure that we can't use the courts to defeat a criminal president who is corruptly granting pardons. And then we know what we'll have to do. We will be left with but one option: a constitutional amendment. And don't the people deserve a constitutional amendment? Doesn't our democracy deserve the power of the president to be constrained so that he can't act in such a corrupt and criminal way? Yeah, I know we haven't amended the Constitution in going on 30 years, but you know, it can be done. And if we bring a legal challenge of a corrupt or criminal pardon, and the judiciary says, nope, a corrupt and a criminal pardon, they're just fine. Well, then don't we owe it to our democracy, our republic, we the people, to try to fix that enormous shortcoming of the Constitution with a constitutional amendment? I would suggest we do. Can you tell that I really miss being in the courtroom, folks? Maybe I'll get back there sometime soon. And as always, folks, thank you for tuning into these videos. If you would like to more formally support our all-volunteer efforts here, you can go over to patreon.com, sign up to become a patron, and if you do, I will send you some Team Justice stickers and a handwritten personal note of thanks. You can also find me over on Facebook, Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner, and of course on Twitter all day and night trying to answer your legal questions. And my handle at Twitter is @GlennKirshner2. So as always, folks, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.